Welcome to my lecture online. Now let's talk about the oscillator, but in the quantum world. So in the quantum world, we'll call that the quantum harmonic oscillator, instead of just regularly the harmonic oscillator. The difference is that the energy levels are quantized. In other words, you cannot just have any energy in the oscillator. You can only have very specific values for the energy. And so we have the energy indicated here as E sub naught, E sub 1, E sub 2, E sub 3, E sub 4, basically E sub 0. And that's for the n equals 0 level, the n equals 1 level, the n equals 2 level, and so forth. So what are those levels? Well, the smallest energy that a harmonic oscillator in the quantum world can have is E sub 0. And it turns out that's not equal to 0, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then there are quantum jumps to the next level. And notice that in a quantum harmonic oscillator, each quantum jump is of equal value. The energies can be defined as follows. E sub n is equal to n plus a half times h bar times omega. Now h bar is a constant. It's Planck's constant divided by 2 pi, and Planck's constant is defined right here. It's a very, very small number, but it's a very important number in the world of the quantum, or I should say in the quantum world. Now notice that here, n plus a half, well, that's an integer plus a half. So n can be 0, so in that case, this would be 1/2. N can be 1, then it would be 1.5. N could be 2, it's 2.5. So it's an integer number starting from 0 plus a half times Planck's constant divided by 2 pi, which is just a constant, and times omega. Now omega is defined by the angular frequency of the oscillator. Now we have an oscillator that's going to be oscillating at a particular frequency, and the angular frequency is defined as the spring constant divided by the mass, and more specifically, the reduced mass. So what does that all mean? Well, let's take a look at an oscillator at the quantum level. An oscillator can be defined as maybe a diatomic molecule that has two different atoms on each side, one that has a smaller mass, one that has a bigger mass, and the spring constant is defined by the intermolecular forces between them. The attractive and repulsive forces between the nuclei and the electrons form bonds, and there's a certain amount of what we would call a force that holds them together, and that force is very similar to the spring constant of a spring in the macro world, where we have a mass attached to a spring or two masses connected to one another with a spring in between. So the reduced mass of these two can be defined or can be calculated as follows. The reduced mass, and I should write m sub r here, is equal to the product of the two masses divided by the sum of the two masses. And we'll show you some examples of that later. So once we determine the reduced mass and we determine the force between the two atoms, we can then find out at what frequency the two atoms will be oscillating back and forth. And it turns out that the frequency of very small particles like that, two atoms connected to one another with intermolecular forces, that will be a constant for a particular type of molecule, for a particular diatomic molecule. For example, oxygen, which is a diatomic molecule, or nitrogen, which is a diatomic molecule, or maybe carbon monoxide as an example. They have all very specific frequencies due to their structure, the force between the two and the mass of the two atoms. So once we determine what the angular frequency is based upon the intermolecular forces and the reduced mass, we're going to come over here and realize that the energy is simply defined by the frequency of oscillation of the oscillator, a constant, Planck's constant divided by 2 pi, and then n plus 1/2. So now we can see how we have those quantum leaps from one energy level to the next energy level, such that the difference between any two levels, which is a constant value, can be defined by 1 times h bar times omega. Now, h bar, of course, is h divided by 2 pi, and omega can be defined as a spring constant divided by the reduced mass. So this is the value between any two levels inside a quantum harmonic oscillator. Now, as the oscillator gains energy, it will gain energy in jumps of that amount of energy, which is defined right here, and it can lose energy by radiating that energy, and then the energy level of the oscillator can drop. So we can go up and down by these quantum jumps like this. So that's what we mean by a quantum harmonic oscillator. It's an oscillator, just like in the macro world. Maybe two objects connected with a spring. In this case, it would be two atoms connected with the intermolecular forces. They will vibrate at a particular frequency, which depend on their masses and the strength of the force between them. So that can be calculated. Once we know what this is, we then know the angular frequency of the oscillator. We multiply that times h bar and then times n plus 1/2 to find the energy of a particular level. Later on, we're going to talk a little bit more about the quantum harmonic oscillator in terms of what does this really mean, what is the lowest energy possible, and why is that not equal to 0, and what is the significance of these particular levels, and how high of a level of energy can we be at. Is this very typical that the numbers are very small, or is it typical that the numbers are very large? In the real world, of course, we're dealing with atoms or molecules that vibrate at very high vibrational rates and frequencies, and so we're going to see some connection between the real world, nevertheless the quantum world, and the theoretical graphs that we tend to see in our textbooks.